One of my favorite laptop hubs now has a partner with slightly different port layouts and the much needed 1 gigabit Ethernet port. If you're interested in learning whether this new hub from Anker is for you, then please watch the rest of this video. And if you haven't already done so, then please subscribe and click that notifications icon so you'll be notified of future content. Back in January, I did a video on the Anker 7.1 USB hub, which to date has been my daily driver. It's still pretty rare to find a USB-C hub with 100 watt power delivery in this price range. There wasn't really anything wrong with this one. I didn't really have a whole lot of complaints. I use the thing almost every day, but there's a lot of times I wish it had a Ethernet port. As choice is always a good thing, Anker's decided to add another device in this category. This is the 8-in-1 device that's very similar to the 7-in-1 except for the port configuration. So let's take a quick look at the port configuration, discuss the differences, and we'll run some quick tests to make sure the performance is as advertised. So here you see actually both the 7-in-1 and 8-in-1. As you can see, and you might not be able to see it very well, but the 8-in-1 is actually slightly thicker. And we'll understand the reason why here in just a second. But let's look at the quick differences between the two. So this is the 8-in-1 and this is the 7-in-1. The 8-in-1 actually has dual HDMI ports, which is kind of handy if you're doing video capture or if you're doing dual monitors. And it has the power delivery input up to 100 watts coming in. The 7 obviously is only a single HDMI. It has the SD, micro SD, and the same power delivery input. So if we flip these over, we now see a little bit of difference in the port configuration. They both have dual USB 3s, and on the 8-in-1, the SD and micro SD have actually been put to the back. So the original 7 actually has a data port. It just doesn't output any power at all. It's strictly data for USB-C connections. I haven't really found that to be a major problem, only because most of the stuff I plug into my hub is USB-A or has a cable to make it USB-A. And then lastly, the big change here is we now have a 1 gig Ethernet port on this device, which is really what made me look at this in the first place. As far as port configurations, either one or both of these will work fine for me because I'm mainly using USB and the SD cards. That's what really works for me. And of course, the external monitor, when I go work mobile, I often can plug into an external monitor, which makes it nice. But this is something I always found to be a little bit missing. So having this Ethernet port in here is kind of nice. So now that we better understand the port configuration, let's go ahead and run some quick tests on the Ethernet adapter, the USB, and the SD card just to make sure that they have the expected performance that we're looking for. So let's just set the baseline for the testing before we get started. I've plugged in a bunch of extra peripherals into the device, and including using an external monitor during all the testing so that we could give it some level of load on this thing. So the first test we're looking at is a network adapter. Overall, the performance is pretty decent, but certainly not as fast as a dedicated network card or even a dedicated USB adapter. But overall, it's still significantly faster than Wi-Fi, and given that it's a shared USB device and you're getting the extra reliability of a hardwired connection, that's pretty good. It probably averaged around 38 to 40 megs a second, which again is slightly lower than a gigabit network card. Next, I tested the SD card reader, and the performance of the SD card reader is actually very close to that of a dedicated card reader. I didn't see a whole lot of difference, certainly less than 10%. I was averaging between 70 and 75 on the writes and about 80 to 85 on the reads, which is, about 5 to 8 megabytes per second slower than I get on my dedicated card reader. Just for fun, I tested a USB flash drive, but those are usually pretty slow, at least the ones I have. So I didn't really expect that much. I got my expected 20 to 25 megs a second onto the flash drive, and that's the right performance. And lastly, I wanted to test it for real maximum output, just to see what it would do. And I used an external M.2 SSD drive. and the performance was overall pretty good, hitting speeds of around 250 megs a second. So overall, if you consider all the things that actually the docking station is doing all at once, and the fact that I was actually outputting video at the same time, the performance of all the peripherals plugged into it is actually pretty good. After you're running all these tests and using this for a while, the one con I can find is that you don't get full gigabit Ethernet performance. However, the throughput is real consistent and stable. Overall, I'm really pleased with this hub, and it provides a really good compromise of features and performance. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe and click that notifications icon so you'll be notified of new content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.